Okay, I think I have everything going all right today. So, remember when we did these cards yesterday? We're going to have some fun and play around with them today. And I'm going to have my last cup of coffee too for the day while we do this. So, I think you're going to like this. So, I mentioned yesterday that just because um, a card making workshop comes the way it is, you need to look at it always as something more than that. So yesterday, I took the Serenity card making workshop from Close to My Heart, and we assembled it exactly as instructed in the instructions with some minor changes, not huge changes. But so this is card number one. We added shimmer brush to the watercolor pencil crayons. We added some splatter into this. And then I did add sparkles too. Hey, Janice, good morning. Can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Because I have sound bars going. So can you tell me if you can hear me now? At the very beginning of the video, I was muted, but I from here can see that I have sound bars, but I'm not going to keep going if I don't have sound. I'll go to my other audio. My earpods had died yesterday, so I just used my normal mic and but I charged them, so they should be good now. So if somebody could let me know if they can actually hear me. I can actually turn the volume up on my. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, so I'm going to finish showing you what we did yesterday. So this was card number two, and like I said, I just assembled them exactly as illustrated. I just spilled my coffee on my table. Okay, except for we added some shimmer brush and the sparkles, and I added the embellishing twine in different way because embellishing thread because you all know that I love it. So that was card number two. And then card number three, I added Bluebell shimmer brush and pretty much kept it the same way, just added a little bit more embellishment. Okay, and then this is card number four, the same. I just switched out the ink color, added some Bluebell sparkles, shimmer brush. Okay, so today I thought we'd have some fun, and I took the card making workshop and I cut it up with different papers, and we're going to use a different stamp set. And I'm just wiping out my coffee so we don't end up with that. Oh, that is weird, Janice. Okay, so we are going to remake these cards today with lovely paper, like literally called the lovely paper, which is an awesome paper pack. It's from the annual idea book. So I took exactly the same cuts. That's all I've done. Some of the sentiment sizes, I had to switch it up because we're going to change the stamp set. And we're going to use the Operation Smile stamp set. Sorry, 1 second here. One of my cameras shut down there. Okay. Oh, that's funny. But it's totally, sometimes when I come on, um, because I do have my earpods in, I mute them when I start so that you guys don't have to listen to my typing or any of the background noise. So I have come on for sure and not unmuted myself. So don't feel bad at all. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do the switcheroo, and I took the Serenity card making workshop, and we're going to use the lovely paper pack from the annual idea book, and I picked the Operation Smile stamp set because this one's also available all year, and I thought that it kind of paired nicely. I was going to originally use the December stamp of the month, And I thought, well, I did 2 videos last week with the December stamp of the month. So if you want to see those, you can go back. I made a layout and I made a slimline card with them. So we're going to use, sorry, D1977 called Every Bit of Wonderful. And like I said, this is the Operation Smile stamp set. So a portion of the proceeds go to charity. So this is a super awesome stamp set. Love it, and I'll be using it all year. So I thought it kind of paired quite lovely with the lovely paper pack. So beforehand, I did do my coloring, but I'll show you each of the images as we go, because to have colored and everything along the way, we would have been here way too long. So here we go. Are you ready? And then I grabbed some different embellishments. So I grabbed the Bluebell sequins. I'm not sure if we're going to use them. I also grabbed silver glitter gems, and then my silver embellishing thread. I think we're going to use that. So those are the kind of the embellishments that I have pulled out. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to recreate card number 1. So like I said, I've cut the papers at exactly the same size as for the Serenity card making workshop. I've just switched out the papers. So for this one, so hopefully I cut all my sentiment boxes the right size. Like I said, that's the only thing that I adapted, and I didn't want to go too far off from what they already had. So I tried to pick a stamp set that I could kind of accomplish that with. So I'm going to do the doodle line first. Can you guys see all the glitter on my little mat here? It is crazy. So I'm going to add just the glitter line, doodle line around the outside of this box first, just like they have in the card making workshop. I'm going to try and keep relatively close, but like I said, I wanted to show you how you could swap it out with a totally different image, different sentiments. Okay, so I think this one, I thought I would kind of planned the sentiments beforehand so that they would fit in my box. So we're going to use this one that says, "You make my heart happy." Hey guys, everybody that's just popping on. We are just taking the card making workshop that I put together yesterday, and I'm switching out the papers and we're switching out the stamp set, and we'll see how this comes out. So I've just got my black ink. I'm going to just use black ink for all the sentiments to make it easy. So here we go. Like I said, I wanted to try and keep it as close to as possible. Here, let me just move this camera just a little bit. To the same sizes for the sentiment boxes, or same kind of concept. So I didn't want to vary too much. I wanted to show you how easy it is to just swap everything out. Okay, so here we go. So obviously I have this piece is instead of my Serenity floral. So we're going to add this. And then I actually use mostly papers and not a lot of cardstock, I think, when I cut up the pieces. But, okay, so then for this, we have ripped paper. So don't forget, you can still do it. It doesn't have to be cardstock to rip. You can rip to our decorative papers, and you still get that really pretty white edge there. I'll try and lift it up so you can see. I'm just taking off the very edge, about 1/4 of an inch. And the closer you have your fingers together while you pull, the more controlled rip you're going to get. If you just go, like if you just rip like this, it's going to be far more random, um, uncontrolled ripping. So it kind of depends on the look that you're going for. Okay, and so this one went all the way over. Okay, you could also distress the edges of all of these pieces if you wanted more of the distressed look. Okay, so then I have a piece of canary cardstock, and same thing, I'm just going to rip it. I just need to get it started though. So I just used the edge of my scissors to start it because the piece is a little bit smaller. I'm going to clean up anything I don't like in a second. I don't really like that big, huge gouge, so I'm going to fix that. Okay. There. So I'm just using the edge of my scissors. There we go. Okay, I like that better. So we're just going to add that down. Okay, and you can already see how you've got two completely different looking cards. And really, I haven't done that much to change it. Okay, so I kind of have placed some of the images with the cards, and I think it'll work. So I've done this one, and I have one of these, and then I have the little pointy flower, which is right there. So I think these are going to be good. So I'm going to add I just want to see how much room I'm going to need here. So I'm going to add it up here a little bit. So I just have a piece, this is a piece of ballerina. And so I am moving it up a little bit because I know that this floral image is a little bit bigger. And I'm just trying to decide, you know what, we're going to do something different with the embellishing thread on this one. So I'm going to take a piece of the embellishing thread, and I'm going to, instead of creating the cluster mess ball, I'm going to wrap it around my sentiment box here on the bottom just to add the texture here. So I just have a little piece of washi tape, and I'm going to tape it on the back to start. And I'll just trim off. Okay, and then I'm just going to wrap it around. And you can do it as many or as few times as you want. I just want kind of that messy, well, not messy because it's not messy, but that I wanted the extra texture where you're going to be able to see it, and to try and show you just a different use for the embellishing thread too. Okay, so I've just wrapped it around like that. So now we are going to use foam tape. So I'm going to use thin foam tape on this box, on this piece. So just like that. And I'm kind of leaving my ends open at the bottom because I want to be able to tuck stuff underneath. So I'm going to add another thin piece at the top there. But I want to be able to tuck some stuff underneath at the bottom. So My puppy just came in to sit beside me. Well, actually, she's looking for bunnies out the window. Okay, so there we go. So it looks awesome already. Okay, so this I know is my biggest piece, so I'm going to figure out my placement of my pieces first. So I actually think I'm going to do it like this. So I just used our tri-blend markers instead of the pencil crayons to color these images because I wanted to also show you a different coloring technique. So like I said, it's just, I use the tri-blend markers and coordinating colors. Okay, so these two pieces, I'm just adding flat, and then I'm going to pop up my flower here, my big piece. So sorry, it sounded like the dog was taking the ornaments off the Christmas tree. I just had to check around the corner. She likes to sleep underneath the Christmas tree, and some of the light decorations, every once in a while, she tries to help herself to them. So, because they're round and they look like a ball, right? So she thinks somebody will play with her. So she's got a bed that's underneath the Christmas tree now because that's where you always find her. So I've added foam tape, just like that. Okay. And for this one, I'm going to add, that's why I brought out, I did bring out, like I said, the bluebell sequins, but for this one, I knew there was none of that bluebell, like in other cards you'll see, there's some of the bluebell color, but there was none for this one, none in these papers. So I grabbed also the silver glitter gems, and we're going to use those on this one for sure. So I'm just going to take my piercing tool and pick a couple of the different sizes and add them into my cluster here. Okay, so there we go. There's card number 1. And here is our remade version. So pretty. So I just filled in this little space with the silver glitter gems. And there we go. Card number 1 is done. Okay, so then this is the second card. And these are the pieces. So you'll see here, right, there's more bluebell. And that's why I grabbed out the bluebell sequins. So let's see what sentiment I thought we would put on this card. So this one we're going to try, you make me happy. Oh, that's exactly the same one. Okay, that's okay. The other ones have different ones. So because I guess I realized that this box was quite small. So same thing, we're going to add our doodling. And then we'll stamp. And then you can see I have a difference. So this flower is now the pink to go with the ballerina. And I have a pink flower and then a little yellow flower. So that's handy. I don't have to switch out the stamp set. Okay. So same thing. Oh, Now I'm wondering maybe I should pull out Bluebell. I think I'm going to stamp the sentiment with the Bluebell. I'm just going to make sure I don't still have. Okay, so color of the year is Bluebell, which is this beautiful bluey purple color. So, and when they do a color of the year, then there's like extra embellishments that match. So there's shimmer trim and the sequins, which we're going to use on this card. There's glitter gems. Yeah, okay. Cardstock. And then it kind of runs through lots of the paper over the course of the year. So there we go. So that one we stamped with the Bluebell. Let's set that aside. Okay, so yes, that is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to add the decorative piece to the cardstock. All the papers are two-sided, so you could totally switch it out however you want. And the cardstock is two-sided too, so if you didn't want the darker color, you could add the lighter color instead. So this one, though, I think we will do our clusters of embellishing thread. So I'm just looking on my Versamat to make sure that I'm kind of lined up in the center of the card base. So I'm lining it up at the top and at the bottom. Okay, so then I'm going to add my decorative pieces to the sides. So like I said, I kept pretty much the design exactly the same. The only measurements I changed were the boxes for the cards for the sentiments. So some of the cardstock sizes are different. But I wanted to show you the value in a workshop. So it's not just making it once, you can make it over and over again. Okay, so these are, like I said, the pieces that I picked out. So my thought is to go like this. So here is the sentiment. So I'm just going to lay this in here for a second. And we're going to make our two thread bundles, one for the top and one for the bottom. So I'm just going to do them at the same time, and I'll show you how sometimes if I'm doing a whole pile of cards, I will stage the bundles. So I have my strip of glue dots here. I'm just going to wrap the thread around my fingers and decide on approximately a size. And so this part where all the threads meet, I'm going to attach that to a glue dot. So I'm laying it on top of my glue dot there. I'm going to take my piercing tool and I'm going to take a second glue dot and lay it on top. Okay. Now I'm not using that yet. I'm going to do my second one. Same thing. I'm taking it, just wrapping it around my fingers. Until I get it like a size I want. And then now I'm adding it. You'll see there's a space. So I take that cluster of threads and I'm laying it across the glue dot and just pressing it down slightly. And then I'm going to just add another glue dot on top. And if I need to trim stuff out, you can very easily. Okay, so then if I was making a whole bunch, I would just do them all and leave them on the strip of glue dots. And be careful, they're super sticky. So, stuck to my finger. I want this one for at the top though. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put the ballerina down flat. Where I want it, which is about there. And I'm not putting it smack dab in the middle. I'm kind of playing with the rule of thirds so that you will see it. I'm going to take a little sip of my coffee before it gets too cold. Okay, so then I'm going to hide my glue dot in here with my embellishing thread. I'm going to add this sentiment on thin foam tape. Like so. It was funny. I actually posted a memory this week on my personal Facebook page, and it was my finger wrapped up in like Kleenex and washi tape because I had cut myself, and it was doing exactly what I was just doing, cutting like this and not paying attention. Those scissors are sharp. They're super awesome because nothing sticks to them, but remember, they're sharp. Because when I'm also demonstrating live, I'm looking at like 100 different things, not necessarily where my scissors are. Okay, so then I'm going to add this on top like that. And we'll just add this now here. Okay, and I'm going to add my foam tape just to the top so that it levels everything out. And it will just snug up to the top of the sentiment box nicely. Okay, and if I want, I can add a little adhesive to the bottom because it will be touching the top of the white there. And I did use just the white daisy cardstock for the sentiments for these ones, not the French vanilla. Okay, so because I added the foam tape behind, it just snugs up nicely and is level with the sentiment. Okay, so this one, I want it popped up more, so I'm going to use 3D foam tape. See, it was doing this, exactly this thing. That's exactly how I cut myself. So at the bottom, I'm going to use a little bit of the thicker foam tape, and at the top, I'm just going to use the thinner because I already have one layer of thin foam tape there, and it's going to overlap, right? So I just need to decide, see how much I'm overlapping. So to about here, almost perfect. So I'll add thin foam tape up here where it's going to overlap the white. Okay, but I'm not going to glue this down yet because I'm going to now add my nest of thread where I want it before I stick that down. So just like this one, I'm going to do it coming out the bottom. Oh my goodness, you guys, we might run out of glue dots before we're done. I think I have some right behind me, so that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take my backings off. And you can see the thin is up here and the thick is down there. So that's perfect. Everything will level out. And I kind of I'm going to play with it until, trying to make sure I don't go off my card that way. Okay, and then this one, I think I'm going to just add it flat. Okay, so now we're going to use the bluebell sequins. So there's all different colors in here of bluebell. So there's some that are shinier, some that are matte. There's some that are like just off-white. So some are mirrored. And then there's different sizes. There's hearts in here. So yes, I'm going to actually have to get more glue dots. I seem to have 4 left on here. Okay, so now I'm just going to pick up my glue dot, pick up the sequin and add it to my glue dot. There we go. And I'm just looking for a variety of finishes. And sizes. Okay, so I'm adding one in here, and I'm going to do the smaller one in there. And then this one up here, and this small mirrored one right here. So there we go. So that was card number 2 from the Serenity that we did yesterday. And then here is the remade card. So we'll put these, I'll pull them down so you can still see them up here. Okay, I'm going to turn around and get glue dots. Thank goodness I know somebody that sells glue dots. You never want to get too low on glue dots. I use a lot of glue dots. Okay, one more sip of coffee. It's from all the talking. Okay, so this is card number 3, and I think everybody loves this card because it's the triangles, super trendy right now. So actually next week, I'm going to do a Facebook Live where I'm going to take this as my inspiration and turn it into 2 different scrapbooking pages, or 2 scrapbooking pages in 2 different lives. So that's what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to switch back to scrapbooking video. Okay, so for this one, I have the very bold paper here. And then I picked, so this will be a little bit different because my sentiment I'm going to add in a bracket. So this is one of the thin cuts. So we're going to stamp on that. And I colored a couple of the florals, and I stuck with the pinks and a little bit of yellow for this to match this piece of paper. Okay. And then, so I think this one we're going to use the inside, your beautiful inside and out. Yeah. Okay. So we'll switch out our sentiment. And maybe we'll go with the bluebell ink again, I think. I kind of am liking the slightly muted color in there. I'm just going to make sure. It looks like I have stamped it, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just rubbing it on my skin to take the factory finish off of it. And then I'm inking it up, and I'm just going to test it once to make sure I've got a decent impression. Okay, and then I have my foam from my stamp set, and just make sure you don't stamp it upside down. I guess it doesn't really matter. You could just flip it around. The nice thing about the clear stamps is you can see if you've got enough ink on there. So there we go. It's stamped. Okay, so from here, we have the card base, and then this back piece is a full piece of paper. So I wanted like something that you would notice in the background. So both these would be great. This would also be great for that same pattern on the front. Okay, so then let's see how I cut these layers. I did Bluebell and then Ballerina, and then this green from the Lovely paper. So I'm going to attach these together first, and then I'll add them to the card. So each of the boxes are like 1/4 of an inch increments larger than the next, and then cut in half. And I showed yesterday on the video how to get a good diagonal cut. Well, first I did a blooper because I said out of my mouth, make sure you have a good hold on your piece of paper, and I didn't, and so it slipped. But so when you're cutting through the box, the square to make it into a triangle, you want to make sure that you're holding your paper well so your blade doesn't slip. So that's my tip. I'm just pulling these down so that they're still in the view. Okay, so we have Bluebell and then Ballerina. Okay, and I'm just making sure that they're centered on the outside so that you get the right border. This piece also would have been a really good one on the background too, right? The other side of this green one. There's lots of print. Okay, so then I'm going to add these two. So I think when I did it yesterday, I added them to this piece of paper first, which was probably smart. It's a little bit easier to see that you're in the middle, but we already added it onto our card base, so that's okay. Okay, so this is my thought for this one. We're going to go like this. And so I'm just switching this one out a little bit. So that is my thought as to how this one's going to go together. So I'm going to do my same little bundles because I can't wrap that plaque there. So here I have the last, well, I can't see it on there. I know there's one more glue dot on there. With the light, sometimes it's hard to see, so I'll get that after. Okay, so same thing I'm going to do. I'll do the two. Oh, these are really big glue dots. That's okay. I will just take it then and fold it over. Then I have more than enough adhesive. Okay, and then, so has anybody else finished their Serenity card making workshop? Lots of people were saying yesterday they haven't done it yet. It's so pretty. Okay, so this one's going to be a really messy one because it kind of went These big glue dots are super sticky. So I'm going to fix that in a second. But here I want this right about there. And then I'm not going to need very much adhesive on this flower, that's for sure. Okay, and then I'm going to pop this up with foam tape. So just don't forget the 2-month idea book cycle finishes at the end of this month. So Serenity is the paper pack that you probably have seen featured the most because it's the paper pack for this month. So like I said, next week I'm gonna make a layout with this card as the inspiration. And those are gonna be my lives next week. So with Christmas in there somewhere. So they'll probably be closer to the beginning of the week. I've been trying to do these on like Thursday and Friday. But with Christmas next week, I think we're going to go earlier in the week. Okay, so I want that lifted up like that. So I'm going to have to put some foam tape on it. I love foam tape, but just be warned, it's super, super sticky. So once you push it down, you're not getting it back up, or not without a lot of difficulty. So we're going a little bit faster than yesterday, so that's good. I got a little bit long yesterday. Okay, and then I'm just going to add just a little bit of adhesive where it's going to overlap. Okay, so I cannot use those big sequins or big glue dots for the sequins. So we're going to use glitter gems on these last couple of cards. Okay, and then anything I don't like, I'm just going to trim off here. So I have a few little ends that are too much. So let's add our silver glitter gems. And they're so handy because they are adhesive backed, so I don't have to worry about the fact that I don't have my glue dots up here. I have to go downstairs to get more, I guess. I thought that was the right box, but apparently not. So nobody wants to wait that long to watch me finish. So we're just going to go with my second choice. Okay, so that is beautiful, and especially in real life. So here's yesterday's, the Serenity, and then here's the remake with the Lovely. So that's card number 3. Okay, one left. Okay, so this one, we're going to use this one that says, grateful to call you friend. And switch it out. And I'll show you the papers that I picked for this one. Oh, yes. Okay, so I've got lots of canary in this one. So I'm going to go back to the black ink, but I'm going to do something with the bluebell. So here along the bottom, I stamped this little image. So the same thing I'm going to do with, I thought, these little flowers here. So there's a little tiny filler stamp there that's just little tiny flowers. So I have not used that one yet. So we are going to put on a little teeny tiny block. I'm just looking for my flat side. Again, I'm going to rub it on my skin. Okay, so yesterday, what I found worked well was I just drew myself a little line so that I knew to stamp below. So yeah, I did about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to really lightly, so you'll see it'll just sit like right underneath my line. So I'm just really lightly going to draw my pencil line. Okay, like that. And just want to make sure my card is folded quite nicely so it doesn't pop up on me. Okay, and then, so that I'm going to do with the Bluebell ink. So we're just going to stamp it once to make sure that it's going to stamp nicely. So same, I just have a little Post-it note. Okay, so it's just a little trio of flowers. So I'm just creating the same kind of little border along the bottom. There we go, just like that. Okay, I'm going to give it a few seconds before I take my eraser to it. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment with the black ink. So like I said, I picked the Grateful to Call You Friend, and then this is a different one of those thin cut. This is the stitched, one of the stitched brackets. So there's 3 different sets of them, and you can also get them in a bundle. And I use them all. The biggest one is my favorite, but for these ones, the sentiments seem to fit perfectly on the 2 sets of smaller ones. So these are actually the 2 other ones. So there we go. So now all our stamping is done. Okay, so I'm going to erase my line and just kind of figure out. So I actually went crooked. So we're going to get a new card base. I apparently could not see my line upside down very well. So we'll just do that again. So I either put it on there crooked, which is totally possible. There we go. Still looking crooked to me. Nope. Okay. So here we go. I take the Bluebell. I actually think I'm going to take the 3 flowers and do the 2 little ones right against my pencil line. And the bottom one then is the bigger flower. And I think that will actually be much easier to follow the line through the stamp. And then this card base, I'll just cover up with a full piece of paper. And nobody will ever know that I stamped crooked under there. Okay, so it goes a little bit farther than I want it to. So I'm just going to go like this. So then my last little flower is on the Post-it note, and so when I pull it off, it's not over the space that I wanted it on. There we go. There's always a way to fix things. Okay, I'm just going to give this a second to dry. So this is how this one is going together. Where is our original? Oh, here we go. Okay. So so don't forget, you don't have to necessarily always mat with cardstock. So I quite often have a tendency to go that way. So I thought, oh, this will be a nice color combination. And then this is a zip strip from the paper pack. So there we go. I think it's probably dried enough. Just have to give it a few seconds. I just didn't want to erase my line for with wet ink still there. So I'm just going to lay my ruler down. And this one is straight. That's good. There we go. Yeah, I tried to turn it sideways for some reason, and I thought that would be better, but then I couldn't actually see where I was stamping. So there we go. Oh, I was off camera there. Okay, so for this one, because there's 3 pieces, I'm just going to lay them down, but I'm going to adhere my 2 outside pieces and then center my 3rd one. Oh, and that's this would be pretty too on this side with the floral, but I'm going to stick with my original plan. Okay, so I'm just lining this up on the edge over here, like so. And then I'll do my other outside one. And then it's easier to space the 3rd one in the middle. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm just trying to decide if I should put the I think I have another flower for this one too. Okay, maybe not. So we're going to go like that. Just bring it down a little bit. And same thing, we're going to use the big, it's the end of the embellishing thread. So I'm just going to wrap around my finger and I'll roll it into this big glue dot. So just like so, and I'm just going to, instead of putting another one on top, I'm just going to flip this over. Okay, and I'm going to add that here. Like I said, the glue dots, those big glue dots are crazy sticky. So I can add this flower just with one of these big glue dots. Like so. And then my last piece is here. And I want it right there. And I'm just going to trim off that little end piece that's sticking up. I don't like that. Okay, and this is going on some 3D foam tape. There we go. And now we just need to add in our glitter gems, and then I will walk you through again one more look at the cards. So like I said, you would never know unless you're looking super carefully that they were the same set of cards. So we switched out the paper and we switched out the stamp set. We switched out some inks. We switched out our embellishments. I'm just going to move this out of the way. And then we will take a look at all the cards. Okay, so here was card number 4 from yesterday, and here's card number 4 from today. I just don't want to spill the end of my coffee there. Oh, I knew there was another flower. Okay, we're going to add that one in there. I think my original plan was for it to go at the top, but that's okay. That worked out well. It'll just tuck right there. Okay, so there's finished card number 4 from yesterday and card number 4 from today. And here's card number 3 from yesterday and card number 3 from today. And card number 2 from yesterday and card number 2 from today. And card number 1 from yesterday and card number 1 from today. So I will photograph them all and they'll all end up on my blog. And the video from yesterday, if you want to watch it, is there if you want to watch the replay, if you didn't watch it live yesterday. And like I said, so my plan is we're going to take this card and rework it into 2 scrapbooking layouts next week. That'll be my live next week. I'm trying to switch between cards and scrapbooking pages just because everybody, of course, wants something different. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and had a cup of coffee with me along the way. And I hope you have a great weekend and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.